Reconnaissance. The breach starts before anyone sees it, not with malware, not with code, with someone watching first. It starts with mapping. Who works there? What they use? Where the weak points are. An attacker maps the target first. Who works there? What software they use? Which vendors are connected? Which employee just posted a badge photo on LinkedIn? Which engineer left a test server exposed? Russia's GRU did it before the attacks on Ukraine's grid in 2015 and 2016. Chinese state-linked groups have spent years doing it against telecoms, defense contractors, and government agencies. Stuxnet wasn't an accident. Whoever built it knew Siemens systems, knew Natanz, knew exactly how those machines behaved. Ransomware smashes the door. Cyber war watches first. Floor plan, wiring, cracks, which leads to the next weapon, the one that actually gets them inside. Phishing and social engineering. A lot of cyber warfare still comes down to one uncomfortable fact. Humans are easier to hack than hardened servers. Phishing is the delivery system. Social engineering is the pressure. Together, they're one of the oldest weapons in the arsenal, and still one of the most effective. The 2016 breach of the Democratic National Committee started with a phishing email, so did countless military and government intrusions. 2020, Google Tag warned fake logins, fake journalists, fake recruiters, fake invites. Same goal, get access. It looks normal. Password reset, shared file, invoice, one click, that's enough. Real attacks often use domains that are one letter off, real logos, real names. Sometimes they wait for the exact moment an employee is distracted, traveling, tired, or rushing. And once one person clicks, the attacker may steal credentials without deploying any malware at all. That's huge, because if you log in with a real employee account, a lot of security systems treat you like you belong there. No smashed window, no lockpick. The guard just waves you in because you're wearing the right uniform. Then comes the next class of weapon. Code that doesn't just fool people. It lives inside machines. Malware, worms, and trojans. This is what most people picture. A malicious program gets in and starts doing damage, but even here, the category splits fast. A trojan is a disguise. It looks harmless until it is already inside. A software update, a PDF, a USB tool. Once installed, it opens a backdoor. A worm is different. It spreads on its own. WannaCry hit in 2017. It used Eternal Blue. It tore through vulnerable Windows systems in more than 150 countries. The UK's NHS was hit so hard that hospitals cancelled appointments and diverted ambulances. FedEx, Renault, Telefonica, all disrupted, fast, automated. No human operator needed to click each target one by one. Then there's wiper malware. This is where cyber warfare gets especially nasty, because the goal often isn't money, it's destruction. Shamoon hit Saudi Aramco in 2012 and wiped data from around 30,000 computers. Not encrypted, wiped. In 2022, as Russia invaded Ukraine, wipers like Whispergate, Hermetic Wiper, and Caddy Wiper appeared against Ukrainian targets. They were designed to erase systems and create chaos, not negotiate a ransom. Criminal ransomware says, "Pay me." A wartime wiper says, "I want this machine dead." And then you get malware built for a very specific mission, not broad chaos. Precision damage, which brings us to the weapon everybody talks about for a reason. 0 days and cyber sabotage. A 0 day is a software flaw the defender doesn't know about yet. No patch, no warning, no fix ready. It's the digital equivalent of finding a secret door in a fortress blueprint that even the fortress owner doesn't know exists. A good 0 day can sell for 6 figures. The best ones go higher. And when states use them well, the result can look less like hacking and more like sabotage. Stuxnet was discovered in 2010, widely believed to have been developed by the US and Israel, and it targeted Iran's Natanz nuclear facility. It didn't just infect Windows machines for fun, it reportedly used multiple 0 days, spread stealthily, and then manipulated Siemens programmable logic controllers, PLCs, to make uranium centrifuges spin at destructive speeds while feeding operators normal-looking readings. Stuxnet proved code could break machines. The machines were being damaged while the screen said everything was fine. That's not a spray and pray virus. That's a sniper round with engineering diagrams attached. Power plants, water facilities, rail systems, pipelines, hospitals. If it's computerized, it can become a battlefield. And once you realize that, the next weapon makes perfect sense, because sometimes you don't need to break the machine. You just need to make it unreachable. DDoS and infrastructure overload. A distributed denial of service attack, DDoS, overwhelms a target with traffic until legitimate users can't get through. Simple idea. Brutal effect. In 2007, Estonia was hit by massive cyber attacks after a political dispute with Russia over the relocation of a Soviet war memorial. Banks, media outlets, and government services were disrupted. It became one of the first major global wake-up calls that a nation could be digitally swarmed during a geopolitical crisis. Then, in 2016, the Mirai botnet hijacked huge numbers of insecure internet-connected devices, cameras, DVRs, routers, and helped hammer Dyn, a major DNS provider. That disrupted access to sites like Twitter, Netflix, Reddit, and Spotify for many users. It was not elite hardware. It was cheap, unsecured consumer devices. That's what makes DDoS so strange. It can be low-tech compared to zero-day sabotage, but still massively disruptive, like clogging every emergency phone line in a city. The building is still standing. Nobody can reach it. And DDoS attacks are often a smokescreen. While defenders are busy dealing with a flood, another team may be stealing data, planting malware, or moving deeper into the network. Which brings us to the quietest weapon of all, the one that doesn't announce itself with broken screens or ransom notes. Espionage, supply chain attacks, and prepositioning. Sometimes the weapon isn't meant to go off today. It's meant to sit there, quietly, for months, maybe years. Cyber espionage is about stealing secrets, military plans, diplomatic cables, intellectual property, telecom data, research. Operation Aurora targeted Google and dozens of other companies around 2009. The 2015 U.S. Office of Personnel Management breach exposed sensitive records tied to roughly 21.5 million people, including background investigation data. Then there are supply chain attacks, where attackers compromise trusted software or service providers so the victim infects itself. The SolarWinds attack, disclosed in 2020, is the textbook example. Attackers compromised Orion software updates, which were then distributed to around 18,000 customers. U.S. government agencies and major companies were among those affected. Instead of kicking down thousands of doors, the attackers poisoned a delivery truck and let it drive itself to the target. And then there's prepositioning. That means gaining access in advance and waiting. A state may quietly sit inside another country's telecom network, energy sector, or transport systems not to cause immediate damage, but to build an option for later. Dormant, hidden, waiting. U.S. and allied officials have repeatedly warned about this kind of activity. In recent years, public reporting around groups like Volt Typhoon raised concerns about Chinese state-linked efforts to burrow into critical infrastructure, potentially for future disruption if a conflict escalates. Sits months, then wakes. And once you see that chain, random headlines stop looking random. A fake login page, a weird software update, a telecom breach on one side of the world, a power grid intrusion on the other. They aren't isolated tricks. They're different tools from the same armory. Most of them look normal, right up until they don't.